Nesson Nation! It's a feel-good Friday on Boston has entered the chat here inside the Salem 5 studios, baby. That's right, Travis Thomas, Kasey Hudson, Friday, June 20th. We in here. How you doing, Case?
I feel like I just hit the weakest note to try to add to, that was such a grand welcome, and here I am like,
Thank you.
Okay, aside from my pathetic attempt to add to that, I'm doing fantastic. It is Friday.
Yeah.
You are my shot of whiskey and the dose of caffeine that one lives for in their work week, so I'm nothing more but excited.
I feel good now, but just wait till that hangover tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I really strike.
That's where our age shows. That is literally where our age shows. Some lady this past weekend was like, oh my God, what university you're at around here? And I was like, lady, I love you. And then I exit stage left immediately because I didn't want to be a liar, you know? And then I thought about it and I was like, how can I tie that into life and as pickup lines and stuff, but I wouldn't do it. And then I was just like, you know what, I got to own this. I'm old. And I had a hangover the next day, so it added to it.
It happens. I can still drink like I used to, but that hangover, that recovery is not what it was. Now,
1 week men.
We may all need to drink after this weekend. Our old friend, Rafael Devers and the Giants
Our
now.
ex-boyfriend?
Yeah, we got to see him. We're going to talk about that all show long, of course. We have everything for you here on Boston is in the chat. And we always tell you we're interactive. Email us at chat@nesson.com. Tweet at us using the hashtag NessonChat. Call us, 617-790-0928. We have a ton of voicemails. We'll get to them later in the show. We always love hearing from you. Kasey and I say you are our co-hosts. So get in here, get involved. 617-790-0928. Let's start with Rafi this weekend.
Yeah.
My gut, we're going to see him at first base. He's going to have a big old smile on his face. Happy to be here. Love the Bay. Love all my guys. Whatever, Rafi. 2 out of 3, or maybe a sweep.
Oh my gosh!
Let's go.
You're crossing fingers and digits for the sweep,
I
but
am.
could you imagine? Could you actually physically keep the TV on if you see this man at 1B?
Yeah, I could. In fact, I'm mentally prepared.
You're better than me.
For Rafi to go off. I think he will put up numbers against the Red Sox. However, I think the Sox are a team, not me, not I. And I think the Sox take 2 out of 3 realistically. I know I said sweep. That's because I'm crazy. I think 2 out of 3, and they win yet another series. This team's hot. I get. Look, you lose. I said this yesterday. He's a generational bat. No one wants to admit it. This dude with that bat in his hand is one of them ones.
We loved him for a reason. You can't deny that.
The talent is there. The leadership is not there. The self-awareness is not there. The selflessness is not there. But everything else is there. But I think with getting rid of him, it is kind of addition by subtraction in terms of the culture of the clubhouse.
Yeah.
These guys love each other. These Red Sox dudes, they have come together. I think the Rafi stuff, all this drama has galvanized this group, Kate.
Yes. I think, unfortunately, considering all aspects here, it's a breath of fresh air in a sense.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to note that the last time you and I sat here, which was last Friday, and we were like, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. 2 for 3 versus a sweep. A sweep happened.
A sweep did happen.
So the possibility is there.
I believe we manifested that.
I'm shouldering it. I'm shouldering it for both of us. So that's where I'm going to lead off with this. But I love that you mentioned, underline the selflessness. And we kind of talked about the fact that, it's a breath of fresh air for this room. I love that you said galvanized, but also it just seems like we're learning more perspective as to what was potentially really going on in the clubhouse.
Sure.
More importantly, I talked earlier about the fact that a lot of things are going through a translator. So the level of emotion, the depth, the impact behind the words that's really being said, we don't know it. But now we've got a little bit more of a bird's eye view of it from both sides. And I think at the end of the day, when you've got a guy there that doesn't want to be a leader, that doesn't want to be selfless, you've been here since you were 16. How are you not bleeding for this team? You know what I mean? It just changes the scope of how you're really evaluating the situation. More importantly, you're seeing a team that now I think has a larger chip on their shoulder. So while Devers is probably going to try to make a case to his ex being the Red Sox, I think the Red Sox have a bigger case to make and a chip to show, look what we can do with teamwork.
Yeah.
Look what we can do with whatever it takes versus hey, putting you on the holy grail of you're paid, you're our leader, we're not worthy. I'm not saying that that's the vibes, but again, bird's eye view, it's just almost like you're almost conceding to somebody because of the payment, because of the progress, because of the power behind his bat, and so on and so forth. Whereas now they have to rely on each other. They have to communicate. They've got to be a band of brothers so that they can find that consistency that we have been screaming and asking for months now.
Well, it's a young team, too, and there's obviously veteran leadership. I know Bregman's hurt, but that's an example.
Still a leader, though.
But it is a young team, and so you want to establish that culture that they have now with getting rid of this guy. By the way, I know Rafi was a part of some of these, but the Sox lately in fuego, 10 of their last 13 games they've won. They've won now 4 straight series.
Yep.
I just think right now, and why I use that word galvanize is because getting rid of him sort of validates all that. And it's like, look, we did this together. He was a part of it production-wise, but he wasn't a part of it in terms of being a spark and leading the guys.
Yeah.
So you do lose that production, although I'll say this. If they can kind of continue playing well, winning series, chipping away, right? Chopping wood, carrying water. If they can do that and get to the trade deadline, still in the position where they're in now, let's have an honest conversation. Right now, they'd be in the playoffs today. They have the last wild card spot.
Yeah.
And look at the AL East right now. Those Yankees, they haven't been playing well. 4-6 in their last 10 games. They were on a losing streak until last night.
Exactly.
Thanks to the Angels. You stink. We'll see you soon. The Rays are right there. Toronto's right there. Boston's right there in the division I'm talking about. And they're already, as I said, in the wild card spot. So if they can kind of hover around here, I think by the time you get to the trade deadline case, that's where the production, you can get a bat or two.
Right.
Every trade deadline, we all see it. There's always a bat or two available. Always. A mercenary, if you will. Just come in and hit for us, bro. That's what we need. The hard thing to get at the deadline is the arms. So while we're all upset at the return of the Rafael Devers trade, we all are. I get it. They did get some arms, okay?
Yeah.
They got some bodies. We'll see if they're quality arms or not, but they got some bodies. They got some arms in there.
Yeah.
So if these guys can be decent, stay healthy, provide something, then you can lock in on the deadline and go get a bat.
Yeah. And I love the fact that, like you mentioned, timing being everything in this. Like, I feel like if we got closer to that trade deadline, as you talked about, if the return was bigger, then the emotions would kind of let up a little bit to this trade. And look, we were all very emotional. We were all very shocked. Once this press conference came and went, I think a lot of my emotions around all of it just like simmered all the way down. But it's more so the fact of, let's also remember, you've got key components to this team that are injured.
Yeah.
You've had so many injuries that have affected any sort of stability to this roster. So as the season progresses, like you said, if they can hover right here and just continue to make those small strides forward, string together a couple more wins, maybe you get some guys back and you're looking at that little bit of a jump that you need. So heading into this matchup too, it's the mental aspect for me of how guys get over that hump, you know? So you just got rid of somebody who wasn't mentally bought into doing whatever it takes for the team. Now the team has to do that in order to solidify their success moving forward. But on top of that, you kind of really dig the mindset of like a Hunter Dobbins who should potentially be on the mound tonight, who's just like, if not this team, no one.
He's a dog. I love him. I think they have a whole team of that. I really do. And some of those injuries you mentioned, all bats, by the way, Abreu, Yoshida, Bregman. I mean, you're going to get all these guys back. So good.
It's not like we're looking at never seeing them for the rest of this season. So it's just like these guys need to be able to weather through right now, because once you get that back into the lineup, I mean, let's look at what Alex Bregman was doing before he got hurt. Yeah. Or even when he tried to work through when he wasn't feeling 100%. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, get that jump back at the right time. You're talking about a team that can really kind of be like, oh, this is our identity now. And everybody is bought in and everybody's going to do whatever it takes. And they're right there in the perfect spot for it.
Obviously, we're going to sit here and talk about the drum that is Rafi. But the reality is, from a baseball standpoint, I think this is a good litmus test for the Red Sox. Because think about this. We're talking about their momentum, and they're playing well lately. Big picture. The Giants are no joke, Case. Like, this could be a team, especially adding a Rafi. This could be a team in the World Series. They could knock off a Dodger.
Wild.
Like, they could. So, I mean, I just think right now the timing of everything that happened with Rafi and that drum, we're playing together, we're playing well, we're sort of the little engine that could right now in the American League, going up against a juggernaut, like a National League, legit, bona fide, possible World Series team in the Giants. This will be a good litmus test. If the Sox can take 2 out of 3 from this team, they're for real. If the Sox sweep this team, I mean, watch out now. I'm going crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Losing it, that's
yes.
for sure.
But if you get swept, then it's like, okay, little humble pie. So I am curious to see sort of how this series plays out big picture. Where does this Red Sox team stack up against an elite team?
Yeah, I think this is going to give us more of a realistic gauge, you know?
Yeah.
And also what I find very cool is it's almost like a battle of the righties heading into this. So you're going to see where these young guys continue to step up. Marcelo Meyer is known to be pretty powerful against a righty bat. We'll see if he can do that. He talked about seeing different looks. He talked about doing his homework. So being able to rise to the plate here, being able to do that extra layer of homework, being able to come together as a team, I think we'll get a more realistic evaluation. Because right now we're just excited that they're winning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're not overlooking or underlooking anything. We're just like, hey, they pulled off another W, on to the next. I think now we can add a little bit more evaluation to the situation and add a little bit more expectation. On that note, I do not think that we see Devers at 1B. I think that they keep him over at DH. They've got Matt Chapman hanging out and holding things down, 12 home runs in comparison to Devers' 15. So they don't need to make any changes just to make a point. And I don't see the Giants doing that because they don't have to shove it to us.
Sure.
They won the trade.
Yeah, they got the prize in their mind, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I call it a headache, but whatever. We'll see how it works. He was
We
there.
call it a lot of things at this point.
Well, true,
yeah.
and he was there 5 minutes. He's already loving life and doing whatever they say, so maybe he won't be a headache
wild.
there.
Northern Cal.
Kasey,
I mean, maybe because my family's from like Southern Cal, I'm just like, nah.
Is it a rivalry between Northern and Southern Cal?
In my brain, yeah.
Okay, all right, competitive case. She also told you, though, that Marcelo Meyer talked about being a student of the game, and that's one of the reasons why he's playing so well. She don't ever tell no lie. Take a listen straight from the horse's mouth.
You hit some triple-digit rockets yesterday, didn't get the result, obviously, but how much is that an indicator for you that your approach is right where you want it to be?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I'm hitting the ball hard, it's telling me that I'm swinging at good pitches. So, you know, as long as I keep that going, I think I'm going to be in a really good spot.
Approaching almost a full month in the show now. You face a lot of live arms. Where's your level of confidence? How much is it increasing day by day?
I feel good. Obviously, it's my first time seeing these arms. Every day is a new arm that I've never seen before. But doing a really good job of doing my homework before the game and making sure that I'm putting myself in the best possible situation to help the team win.
I love this kid. And listen, I know Christian Campbell reportedly is getting sent down. We'll talk about that later in the show. But I look at this as Meyer and Anthony both have to help this team moving forward. I thought at the time they were brought up, they provided, remember the team was playing like trash at that point.
Yeah.
And both of them provided sparks and kind of were catalysts to turn this thing around, which we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Well, moving forward, no pressure, kid. We need more.
Right.
I mean, you got to keep it up and you got to develop. Baptism by fire. I think these young boys will help the Sox get to the postseason, Case.
Yeah, I think last week, what did I say? They injected some Botox into the veins
Yes.
of the Red Sox. But over that course of the week since we last had this conversation, what have we seen? Big plays from Roman Anthony, big plays from Marcelo Meyer. I mean, one of the plays that was highly regarded, Trevor Story kind of bragged on Marcelo Meyer a little bit, talking about some comparisons to Nolan Arenado. And I'm just over here like, wow, this is tremendous. This is tremendous. And then for him to do so in knocking out Arozarena, which we know I'm a fan of because former Tampa Bay Rays guy. So it's just like, you're seeing these old soul auras on both Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer, more Meyer than anything else, but we've seen these guys step up and show off on both ends of the spectrum. So it's a lot to be excited about, and that could be another layer to the fresh air that this clubhouse could be feeling. Coming
up here on Boston Has Entered the Chat, we hear from you, our co-host. Voicemails galore when we come back on Boston Has Entered the Chat. And remember, get the latest up-to-date live. We've got Boston sports headlines along with your daily dose of trending sports and social topics every weekday on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Catch us live at 8 a.m. on Nesson and 9 a.m. right here on Nesson Nation. That's every Monday through Friday. We'll be back. Welcome back into Boston Has Entered the Chat. We always say, Kasey Hudson, Travis Thomas, but you are our co-host. We need to hear from you. 617-790-0928. Get involved. Tweet at us using the hashtag NessonChat. Email us at chat@nesson.com. And you all respond in kind every time we give that number out because, in fact, we talk sports here, but we also love fashion. And someone called, it's just one of us on this set, that is a fashionista, okay? Spoiler alert, it ain't me. Take a listen to this call.
Hi, love the show. And today, I just wanted to know, Kasey, can you give us an OOTD? What are you wearing? Who are you wearing? Love the fit today. Great show, guys.
I'm so honored. I'm so honored.
No lies detected.
Yeah, I wish that I had like a cooler name drops to put in there. First of all, thank you. Wish you would have named yourself so that we could be friends. But we are friends. Look, I was just telling my team I am a Vans gal,
yes.
big time. Growing up in the Warped Tour era down in Florida.
Yep.
That's all you do. You collect Vans, and
Look
I have too
at
many
this.
pairs of it. Oh, here we go. I said no.
We need
grace
shoe
here.
cam. We need a shoe cam or something.
The pleated.
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Jenna on top of her game. Beautiful work.
The platform version of the 23 plus that I have. The pleated schoolgirl skirt. This is straight out of Amazon fashion. And then there is a vintage tee store back in Tampa Bay at International Mall.
Yeah.
My parents are not going to be happy at the money that's been dropped there. Hard-earned money, by the way, though. But vintage Ramones t-shirt.
Love it.
I've told one of my colleagues here at Nesson that the simplest thing you can do is a vintage tee, Vans, and mix it up in between. So
yeah.
That's where I'm at. And whenever you're in that grunge emo era, which this is the feeling of today,
yeah.
you throw the pearls on.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
All great choices. Just wait till we get Boston has entered the chat. Travis Makeover Edition, where Kasey upgrades me.
Oh, I'm so excited. Look, I love your striped tees, but we could do more. We can always dress it up, clearly.
Should I give my?
Yeah, can we get your OOTD?
Jenna, 2-shot. Slacks, Target, shirt, Walmart. Total outfit, $6. Balling on a budget.
You can ball on a budget,
Can ball on a budget.
Again. Thank you so much for that. Let's see what I feel like dressing like tomorrow, honestly. My mood changes like my music. I reflect it through the music I listen to that day and the outfit I wear that day.
Well, you just do great work. I actually do tell you that every day.
You do.
You got to admit.
You actually every morning ask for my outfit check.
I
so
do.
I
It's
appreciate
true.
that.
617-790-0928. Call us. We talk about everything, as you can see. Coach Cassidy from New Hampshire got involved. He wanted to talk Bruins with us. Take a listen to this.
Mm-hmm. Great show. I just got into it about 3-4 weeks ago by accident and haven't turned it off since. Anyway, a couple of quick comments. This is Coach Cassidy up in Concord, New Hampshire, and I want to say two things. One, I'm happy for Marchand, very happy, and at the same time, very disappointed for Connor McDavid and Edmonton because I wanted to see a Canadian team win it for a change. Anyway, Connor McDavid would never, ever come to join Sweeney and Neely with the Bruins. He's a Canadian. He's like Gretzky and Messier. He is committed to Canada as he should be, and God bless him. I hope the Edmonton Oilers can take the next step. They're only 2 players away from that Stanley Cup. 2 players like Marchand, for example, or Kachuk, and they're going to be Stanley Cup champions. Anyway, that's all I have to say. It's a great show, and I'm hooked on it right now. Whether you go to the chat or Karen Reed, there's no choice. Got to go with the chat.
Appreciate that, Coach. We, too, not guilty, so thank you. Lots to unpack there. Connor McDavid to the Bruins is the main thing. Look, it's just talk at this point. It feels like fantasy hockey. We'll see what happens out of it. But I think crazier things have happened in sports. And if I'm a Connor McDavid, I look at this franchise, and there's a handful of them I would look at around the league.
Yeah.
But Boston would damn sure be one of them where I'd say, yeah, I could go there. It's just a matter of what do you pair me with that I don't have here in Edmonton, and can I win there? But I look at it from where I'm sitting, Connor McDavid and pasta, yeah, sign me up. I feel like that's a Stanley Cup waiting to happen, Case. I'm sorry.
I know. I don't see it, but I love the enthusiasm for one. For two, Coach, I can listen to the New England accent all day long. I love the comparison to just like the Canadian pride because where I will give everyone a little bit of a parallel is I think that pride to play for a Canadian team as a Canadian is can almost triple over into the original 6 teams. That level of pride and honor is still there. So that could be part of the pitch, but you already know how I feel about this one. There's still too many question marks here in Boston. Marco Sturm has said some fantastic things. He's already looking at what the new age hockey scope and landscape is and how to bring an original 6 team into that new landscape. But with that being said, in Connor McDavid's press conference, he's ready to win over and over. And what's wild is we're seeing back-to-backs almost becoming such an attainable thing. And I don't want to say that to take away from what the Florida Panthers did, but you have people having conversations that they could three-peat.
Right.
You know what I mean? And make a 4th Stanley Cup appearance. So where the game is going, he's going to have to be so meticulous about potentially leaving his base. And I think it's going to take a lot more to kind of worm him out of Edmonton. And if that is what happens, then he's going to need a team that has 0 to maybe 1 question mark as to identity, culture, roster, structure, system, so on and so forth.
You want to get involved, call us 617-790-0928. Feel Good Friday. We're partying. Also, email us at chat@nesson.com or hashtag us NessonChat. All right, Mark in Rockport compared Rappy to another frenemy. Take a listen.
Can you say Kyrie Irving, if you're not a team player, get the hell out of town?
I love Mark, just straight to the point. Can you say, Kyrie, you're not a team player? Get the hell out of here. I love it.
Bye-bye.
I love it, Mark. I match you. I was telling Casey this story that at the championship parade, this time last year, I think, for the Celtics, I saw so many Kyrie jerseys just being defecated. I mean, from just people stomping on it, pouring beer on it. There was a damn Kyrie Duke jersey. I don't even remember Kyrie at Duke. He was there 5 minutes. Don't think he went to class. He tried to tell the professor what to do. Earth is flat. Professor's like, get out. He did. He went to the NBA, right?
Earth is flat.
Earth is flat. Get out, Kyrie. Listen, they hate him around here. I get it. I wasn't here during that time, but I remember being on the outside looking in and saying, Kyrie, you messing up, dog. I don't know what you're doing, Kyrie. You could have, just like Raffy, could have had the city in the palm of your hands. You chose otherwise.
You asked for a little too much. It's so funny because when you mention that, the only comparison that I have in my head is how quick Leafs fans are at burning jerseys before they know the results. So it's just like, that's all I'm picturing.
It's like their default.
Why did you take the time to bring this man's jersey out to the parade to just be destructive?
Yeah.
But it's sending a message.
No,
so message
facts.
heard and received. And guess what? Ante Campbell and I talked about it on Hold My Banner. What guys would you like to see return to the Celtics? And let's just say that Kyrie Irving was not like the most flattering conversation around
Facts.
it.
Let's go to Canada. John from Ontario hit us, wants to talk about Brad Marchand in the Cup. Oh, too soon.
Hi, I'm a large Bruins fan that lives 4 hours north of Toronto in Ontario, Canada. Being a Bruins fan, of course, I'm a Marchand fan. I remember when Ray Bourque won the Stanley Cup, he was so popular, he was able to bring the cup back to Boston and celebrate it with the Bruins fans. I was wondering if you think that Brad Marchand has that same popularity, because I would sure love to see him bring it back to the Boston Bruin fans and celebrate that win with them, because in my mind, he's still one of my favorites. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I think he will. I mean, he's beloved here, obviously. He does love Boston. I think the franchise did right by Brad Marchand. The reports were he wanted to stay on the East Coast. He wanted to go to a contender. Check with the damn Panthers. I mean, I'm happy for Brad Marchand and him only, okay? Screw you, Panthers. But yes, to answer your question, John, I do think he'll bring the cup here. So he mentioned Bourque. Bourque did it in 2001 after he won with the Avalanche, and Bruce Cassidy did it as well to a charity event in 2023 after he won one with the Golden Knights. So I have to imagine Brad follows suit here.
Yeah, I mean, I think a large conversation around Marchand after the trade happened, outside of will he come back, is the fact that family ties.
Yeah.
Is his family still here? He's got a son in high school. He's got those 2 younger daughters. So he has emphasized what Boston has meant to him. He's emphasized what it has meant to his family. So I couldn't imagine there being a part in this that doesn't end up with him back in Boston. You see a number of players, even without winning the cup, that returned to Boston to be a part of charity events. One took place just yesterday, I believe, or over the course of the week. So I could see it. It's definitely just tough, the Florida Panthers aspect of it, but you cannot not root for Brad Marchand, and he has just been living his best life. I mean, did you see the video of him getting that bedazzled jacket, and he didn't realize it was for him? He was like, this is for me, and they're like, yeah, this is for you. It was like an NHL Stanley Cup jacket. So he's just living in this twilight zone of soaking it all up, and so I believe that he bleeds Boston still, no matter what sweater he's wearing. I couldn't imagine he doesn't slide through.
Yet another one of our great athletes goes to Florida and gets a damn title.
I know. All the reporters that put up all the pictures on that roster that came through Boston or formerly played for Boston, that stuff.
Lord have mercy. Mary keeps a party going. She's actually diagnosed Rafael Devers. Take a listen. She's cooking here.
Hi. I just want to say that I call it Manny Ramirez syndrome. That's what Rafi was getting into. And I'm glad they traded him because he was just taking the rest of the dugout down. And I don't think he's going to do that much over there. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I hear her, but Manny being Manny became a thing. I still think Manny was more beloved, and he won, obviously, but he was more beloved than Rafi. Not to say Rafi's not a likable guy, but I don't necessarily feel as though he had the same connectivity to Boston and the fans as a Manny did. I think it's a little different, although Rafi clearly aloof as well, clearly about himself, which we said a lot about Manny Ramirez as well. So I think Mary was cooking there a little bit.
Yeah. Again, I think we're all still weighing the emotions in the emotional roller coaster of this week. I agree with you in the sense of, like, I think Manny probably vocality level to the community, to the fan base, a little bit stronger,
He's more beloved.
louder. Yeah. Bigger ties there. But, I mean, in the sense of just kind of choosing thyself over, that's just something that we kind of saw copy and pasted. On the other spectrum of things, I think that he's going to be fine with the Giants. You and I did just touch on this. Like, he's not going to go there and flop. There's a reason why this breakup hurt a little extra, and it wasn't just because of him being in this system since he was 16. It was some of the numbers that were being put up and the expectations on his shoulder.
Well, yeah, I mean, also the Giants have other leaders in place already. So they're
not heavily relying on him.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
they're not going to task him with that, right? Where he can just go there and be productive, in other words. Where here, you needed to be productive, and I don't know, call us crazy, maybe lead a bunch of young, really talented kids to the promised land. Oh, you can't do it? Good luck in the Bay. Except not. I take it back. Polly in Vermont feels like I do about Devers. This is where I'm at, Polly. You and I. Go ahead.
Hi. This is Polly calling from Burlington, Vermont. I'd like to know why it took the powers that be so long to say bye-bye to Devers. He was batting poorly on purpose. He was simply showing up for the paycheck. Thank goodness we don't have to genuflect when he shows up anymore. Bye-bye.
Okay, I understand why the Sox tried to make it work, which is really what they did. They tried to salvage a relationship. So I get why they held on as long as they did. However, I'm with Polly. The minute you look me in my eye and tell me I ain't playing that, don't move me there. Who do you think what? We gave you $300 million and you're talking to moi this way? Wrong. I would have got him out of here in spring training. I'm sorry.
I'm still stuck on the powers that be. You and Paulie are savages.
We ain't even trying to make it work.
Not at all. Not at all. I know who to never cross in New England, and it starts with Paulie and it ends with Travis. But, I mean, isn't that why this became what it is? On top of the powers that be, you don't have this kind of, you don't have a team commit to you to this extent and you don't show that you could commit back. It's like the unreciprocated love.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that love story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bail on that one, so.
I don't know. I mean, again, some of me thinks too, though, if you're gonna make it work and not get him out of here like me and Polly wanted, then hell, wait then. Wait till the trade deadline. He was playing all right. Like, he was playing well.
Right.
Wait till the trade deadline, see if you can get a little bit more. But again, you know, kudos to the Sox. They tried to make it work. It wasn't working. We got to move on. We got these young guys. We're trying to build a different culture here in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Not a bunch of guys who are about themselves, a bunch of guys who are about each other, a band of brothers.
Yep.
That's why I do think, and you brought this up, and I think you're spot on. There should be a chip on the Red Sox shoulder. We're all talking about Raffy this and Raffy that and revenge that. My arse. How about this team, this band of brothers feeling like you really actually turned your back on us, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And like you said, there was a point of emphasis on lead these young guys to the promised land.
That's right.
So when you feel like a leader kind of bailed on you in a sense that like he didn't want to make the extra time, and again, these are all speculations, but still, I would play with a little extra something.
That's right.
That's exactly what I would take into this matchup tonight. So I think that the young guys will do it. I think the meticulousness, the homework, everything is there for there to be a louder message sent to Rafi than vice versa.
More Boston has entered the chat next. Roll with us. We're partying. Come on. Hey, welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. Travis Thomas here with Kasey Hudson. We're just partying. It's a feel-good Friday. Come on in. The water's fine. We're waiting on you. Time now for what's trending in the world of sports, Case.
The whole world.
The wide world. Jeff Passan reporting that Christian Campbell headed back to AAA. Not shocking here if this materializes. We know he's been struggling with the bat. And, I mean, right now, where do you really play him, right? The second base thing never really worked out. Your outfield's in good shape. I don't know where you move him. I kind of get this. Look, I call this guy, and remember, there it is, 8-year, $60 million contract this spring, so he's wrapped up. Tweets coming in, Red Sox guys saying, good, this isn't a bad thing. Figure it out and get back up better.
Agreed.
I think that's how all of us feel, right? Like, I still call him part of the holy baseball trinity here with the Red Sox of this youth movement. So you need him, the only A1 tweeting as well. So this isn't shocking, but go down there, get your game back tight, and he'll be back before long.
Yeah, and on top of it, it really is a good move. Because you're talking about a guy, when we were talking in the offseason, before all of the Red Sox hype came about, what was it? It was the fact that we thought Roman Anthony was going to be the first guy called up amongst the Holy Trinity, as you refer to them. And then the next guy that was really kind of contending with that was who? Marcelo Myers. So, like, Campbell became the ultimate surprise. Then you bring in this surprise. He starts to find a little bit of a rhythm, and the expectation upon his shoulders changes. He's young, he's developing, he's looking at new arms, just like Marcelo Myers said moments ago previously in the other segment. So you have all these different things going on while you're trying to find your identity at the big show, in the big show, whatever you want to call it. I think that this is a perfect move for him to just reestablish what he needs to do and what he needs to focus on, where his strengths are, and then bump back up. And this is the time frame in which they thought that we were going to see Christian Campbell actually.
Yes.
So I think that it's just kind of a reverse situation, not a negative situation.
Yeah.
And he's attacked everything head on with the most positivity. I think that we'll see him back sooner rather than later.
I do too. And again, this is like you're not playing well, but also you have to get in where you fit in. Where do you put him?
Right.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. You have to think. You have Yoshida coming back, Abreu coming back, Bregman coming back. Like, it's just go down there.
It's loaded.
Yes. I don't think this hurts confidence either. I feel like he's the kind of guy that will go down, put in the work. You always say you like players to do their homework, right?
He will.
I think he's going to put in the work, and by the time he's called back up, whenever that is, he'll be ready to rock and roll. This is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yep.
Minor setback for a major comeback.
There
is that well said? How about that?
Because it will be a major comeback.
I'm a poet and didn't even know it.
We're proud of you here.
How about that?
Boston has entered the chat.
All right, so we're talking about exes to start the show with Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
The hits keep coming. Our ex-coach, Ime Udoka, signs an extension with the Rockets. Now, the terms were not disclosed, but here you go from Shams. It's a long-term contract extension with the franchise that makes him one of the highest paid NBA coaches. So you know what the Rockets this season, Case. 52 wins, top 2 seed for the first time in 7 years. So Ime, we knew the brother could coach around here. It was just some transgressions.
It was short-lived.
Yeah, off of the court that did him in here. Here's the tweets. If the Celtics didn't get rid of him, they'd have multiple rings right now. I can't disagree with Kelly 0567.
I was going to ask if you were on board with this or off board.
Yes, I am. Here it is. Happy for you, Coach. Yeah, I think around here, that's Celtics Kurt weighing in. I think around here, most of us appreciated him, the coach, and we miss him, the coach, now in a lot of ways. I think Joe Mazzulla was exposed against Tibbs, who doesn't even have a job anymore, ironically, in New York. But I think in that series, he was outcoached, and he was exposed, and we all know it.
Yeah.
And so, Ime, that would have never happened. Another thing, I don't believe this team would be shooting threes at the volume that they do shoot them at. They were shooting threes with Ime, but they were much more of a defensive focused team
Yeah.
where Missoula came in and it was run and gun. And it did work. They got a ring. I'm not hating here.
Right.
We love Joe Missoula. But I think most of us can recognize that Ime is a elite coach in this league. He just made bad decisions here.
Right. Well, I can say, being new to New England, I saw and heard a lot of comparisons in that first round of playoffs of people being like, Ime would do this differently, or if we still had Ime. And also, you inherit the team from the previous coach that you have for the most part. So there's parts of strategy, there's parts of talent that were adopted or, like I said, brought over from what Ime originally put into place. And for a guy to be able to take a deep run at NBA Finals, go against a Warriors team who, like Ante and I have talked about ad nauseum, like they're a dynasty for a reason. They're one of the most formidable talked about teams for a reason. So it's just like two different styles, but I have heard so much about him having not been around here when his reign was taking place. So, and I think Twitter today continues to speak to it. I know that there's some mixed emotions on celebrating the Rockets or anything around the Rockets, but still.
Well, look, but you know who I think about is Kevin Durant right now, who's on the trade rumor mill daily. Every day it feels like he's on a new team.
Yeah, that's the quickest windmill that we've seen.
If I'm the Rockets, I want him. Because, this Ime got there and overnight, they didn't make the playoffs his first season, but they were much better and they damn near did make the playoffs. Season 1, out of the gate with all those young guys. And the reason why is because overnight they got tougher and they played defense. And that's what Ime brings. And we know that around here. He brings that sort of toughness to his teams. But their scoring, it goes cold. I mean, they have a lot of young talent, but they don't have the guy to put the ball in the basket when you need it.
Okay.
Kevin Durant, who's someone, he is a superstar. But he's not a pain in the arse. What do we talk about around here with Rafi all the time, right? It's about me, spotlight on me, blah, blah, blah. Kevin Durant's not like that.
Yeah.
I mean, my man don't even brush his hair. He loves balls so much. He just wants to go to the gym and shoot. So I think he would work in that culture of all those young players. I don't know what you'd have to give up to get him.
That's always the question.
That's always the question. But assuming you can keep your young core together for the most part and you insert a Kevin Durant to score, here come the Rockets. I think Ime isn't done there. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a title here shortly. Speaking of titles, the Pacers, staying alive, forcing Game 7, 108-91, beatdown of the Thunder. Are you kidding me? Game 7 NBA Finals. Last time we saw this was 2016. Good news for the Thunder here, Case. A couple numbers for you. Home teams are 15-4 in the Finals Game 7. Bad news for the Thunder is Cleveland won at Golden State the last time we saw this, which was 2016.
You know,
who do you got, Game 7?
I'm struggling here because I tried not to be like one of those people that was just an ultimate fan of the sport at the moment and just like rally behind the Pacers. But I have said it time and time again, I love an underdog. If I have an opportunity to cheer for the underdog or the known dog, I'm always going with the underdog. I bailed on my own motto, and I chose OKC yesterday.
Okay.
So I have to have my pro moment.
All right.
It's been this give and take of victories, and when you look at both teams hand in hand, if both teams are flawless and make zero mistakes, OKC is the stronger team.
Okay.
If there's a little bit of mistakes to be made, Pacers have shown that they capitalize on that and they make it their game for their opponent to chase. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I feel like OKC knows how to have the Pacers number. Now, if they come out and copy and paste what they did, I'm all for it and I'm ready for it. That's what I want to see. What I want to see is a Pacers win. What the reality in me tries to like pull at, this tug of war that I'm having internally, is just like, it's OKC's to lose.
Man, you know, before I even give my prediction, I'm so glad this happened in the NBA Finals. I was the biggest hater on this damn series matchup. I was. I thought it'd be a snooze fest. No one cares. It's the middle of the country. No one cares about the damn Pacers or the Thunder. Please. I just didn't feel like your casual fan would care about these finals. I didn't feel like your casual fan, they know SGA is good. I don't think they care. There's no emotional connectivity to him, right? Like you would think of a Steph or a Kevin Durant or some of these old guys. He's a young dude, but I just didn't think he would do it. Then I thought, I mean, there are stars in this. I'm a hoops head. Of course, I'm going to support the finals. I thought the ratings would be terrible. I've been wrong across the board. This has been fantastic. It's been a great series. What the Halliburton? Halliburton's hurt. He's playing hurt, and he's still making it happen for the Pacers with his pacing and the way he plays. This is a tremendous series, and I'm so happy I was wrong. And you never hear me say that.
It looks like we're both having a crow moment. But honestly, I mean, me, like we talked about it actually before we got to the finals.
Yeah.
I had the Pacers, and nobody come for me, please. The Timberwolves, okay? I already owned that situation weeks ago.
It's not a bad prediction.
But there was just an aura around
Yes.
the Pacers. And it wasn't just the excitement with Halliburton. I think that Siakam has probably become one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at somebody who's been able to show up on both sides of the ball. And whenever Halliburton, whoever since acquiring his injury, or it's become more of an emphasis,
Sure.
you've seen Siakam kind of rally things up in the point column, but
Yeah.
then coming in with those blocks that are so necessary to not only just disturb the piece, but mentally get in the head of OKC players. So I love that. I mentioned it a couple of times. I think that the Pacers are doing really well at also playing the mental game. These championship teams are playing the mental game so well. So again, I think it's been a fantastic series. What we saw last night also is that Halliburton doesn't need to put up 20-plus points
right.
for this team to find success, and that's what makes the Pacers
It's the
scary.
pacing. It's the pacing for the Pacers, right?
I know the
he's like the straw that stirs the drink for them. And he's playing hurt. That's the other thing I really respect about him. 6 players, to your point, in double figures for the Pacers.
Yeah.
It's a team thing. I thought this would be over in 3. I thought the Thunder would beat them 3 straight games, and the Pacers would wave the white flag. Series over, we quit. It's going 7. We all win as Hoops fans here. All right, still to come here on Boston has entered the chat. Connor McDavid on the move? Question mark? Bruins, are you telling me there's a chance? We'll talk about it next on Boston has entered the chat. And remember, get the latest up-to-date live. I really wanted to sell that one, Kate.
You did. I'm sold.
We've got Boston Sports headlines, along with your daily dose of trending sports topics and social topics as well. Every weekday on Boston has entered the chat. Catch us live at 8 a.m. right here on NESN and 9 a.m. on NESN Nation. That's every Monday through Friday.
This core has been together for a long time, and we've been building to this moment, all along. The work that's gone on behind the scenes, the conversations, the endless, disappointments, and some good times along the way, obviously as well. We're all in this together, trying to get it over that finish line. With that being said, ultimately, still need to do what's best for me and my family, and that's who you have to take care of first. But of course, there's unfinished business here yet.
Well, what was that last part, Connor? What'd you say? Well, there was a long pause.
Well.
Ultimately, when you start with ultimately, I have to do what's best for me and my family. What was that? Is there did you just kick the door open just a skosh for the possibility of maybe another team to pick up the phone? Hey, Edmonton, you just lost the Stanley Cup Finals again in heartbreaking fashion, but what do you say we get Connor McDavid out of there and bring him to, I don't know, call me crazy.
Get him out of there.
Boston.
I can't with y'all.
Listen, this is where I'm at with this, okay?
Talk to me.
Because the comment section went crazy on me and George yesterday for this topic. So I suggested a few places for Connor McDavid that I think make sense. According to my research, these are the teams with the most cap space in the NHL right now.
Right.
Money. Sharks, Blue Jackets, Ducks. Okay, well, those are all hockey hellholes.
So you're not getting
salary
dumps. Yeah.
You're not getting Connor McDavid, okay? Cross you out. We understand if this man leaves town, which would be crazy, he wants to go to a contender. He's tired of losing, okay? So you look at Bees, Canes, Leafs, Rangers, all these teams, I'm looking at their cap number. They're all kind of in the same boat here. So I'm thinking someone on one of these contenders, or maybe a few people in the Bruins case, may need to restructure some things. Can you sit down a Pasta? Can you sit down a McAvoy? Can you sit down a Swayman, who I don't even think the ink is dried on his deal yet, and say, hey, we got a chance to do something special here and go get this cat. Can we have a conversation about the money? All I'm saying is this. I think the Bruins for hockey, I think the Bruins and the Blackhawks, 2 original 6 teams, 2 big markets, two teams who have young talent in place that you can pair with this guy, I think it would be great for hockey if he goes to one of those two. Not to say there's not other teams that will get involved, but Connor McDavid on the Canes doesn't feel right to me.
Well,
Connor McDavid on the Bruins, Blackhawks, I just think if I'm the Bruins, why the hell not? Am I crazy for this? The comments suggest that I am.
I have to go with the comments. And again, this is never not led by love. But here's the problem.
Okay.
Anyone who is singing this tune right now, their leading point is money, 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 money. Connor McDavid has money. He's not talking about money. In the other parts of his press conference, he said winning over and over again. He's not chasing the dollar. He is chasing the highest honor in this sport, and that is lifting the cup. And as you mentioned, heartbreak. To get there twice, to face the same enemy twice, and to do it in one less game, falling short. Like, if this at least went to 7, I'm sure it would have been a little different in the pain category, painful as a whole, but regardless, it's the fact that anyone who's entertaining Connor McDavid going in a different area for the most part is talking money. He is getting proper endorsements in Canada because this is the highest sport. This is the sport. This is their football, their baseball, their everything. There. So take money off the table. It is a team that has as little question marks as possible. And while Marco Sturm has had such great things to say, you can already kind of gauge an idea for his vision and what he's starting to put into play into practice. There's still plenty of pieces that he needs to put into play into practice. And McDavid is McJesus. But you're talking about a generational talent that still was not able to lead his team to the promised land solo-wise. So why would we bring him to Boston, pay all this money on the premise of he's McJesus, he wants to win, just plug and play him here? That doesn't work. So I don't think it's the money, and I think that's being the driven conversation here. I think that he needs a team with less question marks, and saying question marks isn't a negative thing. It's not me not believing in the Bruins. I believe in the Bruins. I really believe in Marco Sturm. He already has the visionary of the fact that the league is changing, and that's the next thing that we're not taking in consideration. We're talking Blackhawks, we're talking Bruins, we're talking Oilers, we're talking about all of these sweaters that have so much meaning behind it, but we're not acknowledging how the game is changing. The Utah Hockey Club was on the cusp of playoffs. The Columbus Blue Jackets, who have had so much chaos going on in their hockey club, was on the cusp of playoffs. A young team by the name of the Montreal Canadiens, yes, they are an original 6 team led by a brand new NHL coach, was in the mix and disturbing the peace in playoffs. So you're looking at a different landscape here to where I think that's going to challenge how he approaches what he wants to do outside of just thinking about his family. Because a lot of these young teams, a lot of these new teams, a lot of the guys in the organizations committing to, let's say, what's becoming modern day hockey, those are the teams you have to worry about now. So I think that there's just a few different things here that play into the element of it, but I think the money aspect of it has to come off the table. I don't think Connor McDavid's looking for money. Does he deserve a payday? Absolutely, but he wants to win.
Yeah, the fan side of me actually kind of wants him to stay where he is because I love watching him and Draisaitl together. They are ridiculous together. It feels like Jordan and Pippen if they can actually win this thing, but he's too great of a player to have this sort of narrative start to take shape, which is exactly what's happening.
Right.
That can he win the big one? And I just wonder too, and I want your take on this because you know more than I do, in terms of the culture of hockey. So in the NBA, he would just walk in the front office and say, get me the hell out of Dodge.
Right.
Okay? And in hockey, it doesn't seem that way. These guys, they stick it out. They're not going to rock the boat. Is he the type, even with that soundbite where he left the door open a little bit,
right?
You could almost hear regret in his voice not wanting to go there, but he did. He was honest. I just wonder if he sort of sucks it up and maybe puts pressure on the front office to get him what he needs to win and just stays there, right? Ultimately, he doesn't go anywhere because he doesn't force his way out of town is what I'm asking.
So I love that question, actually. I love that pivot because, yeah, there's more layers of loyalty when it comes to the hockey culture, for one. But for two, I think that as loud as it is that he's a generational talent, he should have been able to lead his team there. Draisaitl having another remarkable season. This tag team should have been able to get it done, right? We're not thinking about the fact that early, let's say, I think it was like November of last season, they have a head coaching change. Okay, so when you get a new coach in play, you're already talking about finding and establishing a new rhythm regardless of what's going on. Then add to it, last June or July, one of those 2 months, a new GM. So you're talking about a system that hasn't fully been like, this is what we need to do, these are the pieces that we need moving forward. One of the elements of surprise with Edmonton is the fact that we didn't know the name of half of the guys on the roster, and they were making waves. So I think that's why the door was kicked open a little bit, because a conversation has to be had that says, what is the plan? What did I talk about? The least amount of question marks possible. I think he needs to see if he has that within his own club first before he says, all right, I got to look at the next couple of years. He just got married. He's ready to start a family soon. Oh, or you might think that he's ready to start a family soon. I don't want to put words in the guy's mouth, but, you know, he's got to think about things in terms of next chapter. But I don't think that he closes the door on this chapter without getting clarity of, can we afford a new goalie? Can we kind of restructure this defense? They have to make a lot of things make sense. And it has to fall in line with the new head coach they just got last season and the new GM that they just got last summer. So I think in the midst of all of the chaos, we all forget there's been 2 new brains in the mix here, and they kind of have this rollover from previous rosters and stuff and restructuring and offer sheets. They've had all these things that may not have entirely been what they were sold on, but just rolled with. So how can they make the Oilers their own heading into this next season? Do they have the capability of doing it? Is the big question mark. I think if he gets those questions answered, we'll get more clarity, because they really don't have to solve anything today. We might not hear anything until months later, because it's the respect in hockey of having that extension in place now, but he still has 1 year left on his contract.
Under 2 minutes left. Reading your tea leaves, it sounds like you think he stays in Edmonton. But if he does end up moving, if he does pull an NBA move,
Y'all
says,
ready for this?
Get me to a contender, where do you have him?
It's not where I have him. It's where the rumor mill started to whirl.
Spill the tea.
Spit and Chicklets said Tampa Bay.
Huh?
And I'll say this, I'm not saying it because I'm a Tampa girl. I think a lot of connections were made in 4 nations. I think we were privy to how certain players can play and work together, how certain players respond to certain coaching.
You're blowing my mind right now.
I know, but 4 nations opened a lot of windows for players, and I mentioned the league is changing. Young players are getting more vocal. They are starting to say where they do and do not want to play. So if that being the case...
Can I tell you how many nightmares I'm going to have? If McDavid's on the Lightning and Brad's on the Panthers, I ain't never sleeping again.
Again, this is not me. This is me saying what the rumor mill was. I quoted them properly. It was Spit and Chicklets, so
I don't even smoke cigarettes. I need me a whole pack. When we come back, someone called Kasey a fashionista. Duh. We'll hear from him. Roll with us here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Get the latest up-to-date live. We're here at 8 a.m. on NESN daily, 9 a.m. on NESN Nation daily. Roll with us. We'll be back.